So now I'd like to introduce our two guests here today on Bridging the Gap Radio Talk Show. I have very high admiration and I believe in what they're doing, and you can see it in the work that they do as well. I want to welcome Jaciel Castro. He is Operations Manager for KIPP Texas Public Schools, and Maria de los Santos, Recruitment and Community Partner Coordinator for KIPP Texas Public Schools. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sal, for having us here. We are very honored to be part of this program today. And as you said, the reason why I think Maria and I are here is for that very reason, is that our hearts realign with what Last Chance Ministries is doing in the community. We have a deep desire to see this community be transformed, to see many more children gain a life of purpose, and the tools to be able to go back to the communities and make an impact long term, in the short term,
right,
with the gifts and talents that God has given them. And so for me, it truly is an honor to be part of this team here at Last Chance.
And like I said, I've seen that before, and it's a great thing what you guys are doing. Maria de los Santos, welcome. I know I'm just barely getting to meet you, and I know you've been with KIPP for a very short time. Give us a little bit of background, or where you're coming from, or how you ended up at KIPP as well.
So my name is Maria de los Santos. The reason that I ended up at KIPP is I just wanted a sense of direction. I wanted to focus on bettering my community through as a woman and being that role model to students in the community that were just like me, because I grew up in this community. I was an immigrant from Mexico, so I really see and I mirror myself in the children that are in the community. Mm-hmm. So being at KIPP is something that is a privilege to me, to be able to help those that are in need and those that just need a happy face and someone that is just love.
And I know you're a graduate of Burbank. You know, for anybody that's listening, she is from Burbank. And just, I think you're pretty much recently just graduated, right? 2014.
Yes.
And I know, I mean, I could go and say, you know, I graduated in 1978. That's like way, way down somewhere in ancient land, you know, but nonetheless, I thank you for, you know, your passion. I see that in wanting to help, just like Jaciel, you know, KIPP, about reaching out to the community. And I think that your participation or your connection with KIPP and how I see what you do and your passion for the community is a well mixed, you know, you fit in perfectly with that. Jaciel, how long have you been with KIPP?
So actually, I went to KIPP 21 years ago now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was.
So you're a product of KIPP.
I am. I was sitting in my living room back in 1999, and we were having a family breakfast, and somebody came to our door and said, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about this program we're starting here in the area." And we spoke almost no English, and Miss Dewhurst at the time, she did her best. She sat with us on the floor. We didn't have any furniture. We had just moved from Mexico as well, and she began to speak about this hope that we just didn't know we for our futures, that we didn't know we could have because we were immigrants. We knew we had to live in the shadows for probably the rest of our lives because we were undocumented. And all of a sudden, she begins to speak about the university. She begins to speak about the transforming power of being present in our communities and being able to give back through our gift and talents. As she said, we would love to give you an opportunity to come join our team. And so my sister started first. She joined in 5th grade, and then I joined a year after. Not knowing that I was so academically behind that I actually had to repeat 2 grades to be able to join KIPP. I actually went to school with my sister, sat with her in her little 5th grade classroom, and eventually I had to earn my place in 8th grade as a middle schooler. And it was hard in the beginning because it really is difficult to adjust to this mentality that you can. I think that's one of the most devastating things in our generation is running into a lot of youth that don't think they can, that don't even see in themselves the gifts and talents that God has given them. And so I was in that place that I was sort of giving up. And this school 20 years ago really gave me an opportunity to find my gift and talents, and that I now can employ to do what was done for me 20 years ago.
Right.
And so I've been with KIPP Texas San Antonio for 7 years. Here, I love it. To have a wonderful team, and not going anywhere.
You know, I wasn't aware that you are, like I said, a byproduct of KIPP, and if what you can probably already hear what his upbringing has been like, I think, due to the fact that you went to a really good school. And like you were saying, a lot of the kids now, especially here on the west side, they you know, and I've experienced it, because when you talk to them, you really think, okay, well, you know, I don't see anything other than trying to graduate. For them, that's like the biggest hurdle. I just want to be able to graduate and make it through high school, much less seeing past high school thinking, well, I can go to college, or I can get a career, or I can do whatever the case may be, because of that, you know, like nobody speaks life into them like the way this young lady did with you.
I mean, if you can help a person see and recognize God's purpose for their life, you put a fire behind them. I mean, there is no stopping somebody that understands their purpose, that understands their calling, that knows that they have everything that they need in order to make that a reality, and to be able to trust that things will align as they walk down that journey with people. I see Maria's example, for example. She has an amazing passion and love for people, and is proactive in engaging them, and in going to look for families and going to look for students to bring them into this thing that we are molding. We're being part of molding. And I don't have to motivate her. I don't have to give her any. She already has all the tools necessary to do this really well. It is because she has a sense of purpose, because she understands her place here in the community. And as she's going to get her master's here at UTSA in downtown, she knows that she needs to continue to equip herself with the tools so we could do this better, so we can reach more kids. And that passion is just beyond what you could explain. That hope. So I really respect that about Maria. So.
And like I said, you can see that. I mean, I don't know her that well yet, because I have just met her a couple of times, but you always get a sense of how people really, what their spirit is like. Just when you meet them, and you really know that, you know, they have a passion for something, or they really love something, and I see that in her. I know that you just started recently. I mean, what is it that I know you didn't go to KIPP probably, right? Or you did? No. But what is it that really drives you? I mean, what is it that really you inspire to be, or the goals that you have at this moment, and how that is being accomplished by you being there at KIPP as well?
So my background is not in education. I've always had this urgency and this sense that having an education it opens magnificent doors to you in your life. My background is actually about behavior. So I studied and I've supported children with autism my whole college career. So I've been very blessed to be able to have different experiences under different umbrellas. I've gone into a reflection, and I've really wanted to just dig deep in myself lately. And I've determined that I have 5 different goals and purpose in my life. I really love women. I want to be a tool and an example for women, that you do not have to stay in a situation where you're not happy. And you have to have the faith in God that there is something greater for you. And if me being a sense a support or an example, or just someone that's there to speak to them, I think that that's just something. I feel that I have a really big sense of direction when it comes to children and immigration. I was a child, I was born in Mexico, and I've gone through, I want the American dream. I want to be better. I want to help the community. I really love helping those that are underserved. So being able to use my skills, and mostly what drives me is love, not love for it's love for God, and love for the community, and love to make myself better, and love to give to others. So those are some of my drivers, and me being able to have this wide range of skills really facilitates me being able to impact the community.
And I heard something there that I keyed up on. You said love. And I think when you do everything with love, it changes and transforms people.
Absolutely.
You can do things, I think we were talking about this earlier, that you can do things to see what you get out of it, to see, look at what I did, look at my accomplishments. It's more about building yourself up than building others up. And when I hear Jaciel, you speaking, and you speaking as well, I hear a sense that there is an empowerment that we try to do with people. And when you are able to empower people, then you give them some type of motivation. You help them realize and maybe clear that veil or that fog away from their from their eyes and say, you know what, there is a future.
Correct.
And like I tell the kids, working with the youth, I tell them, it's kind of hard because you're kind of down here a little bit right now. You may think you live in the West Side, or you do live in the West Side, and you think, well, the history of the West Side. Well, I live here, my parents live here, and and a lot of it is, I barely even graduated, or I didn't even graduate. I dropped out of school. And being 78207, one of the most poorest zip codes, in San Antonio, in the nation, for what I understood, it just, that's the mindset that you have, because nobody's ever spoken life into them or empowered them to say there is an option. You've seen the negative part of it. But let me introduce you to the positive side of it. The thing is that you're going to have to probably work a lot harder for it.
Yeah, and it's all of us. We have a long journey ahead when we talk about it. Just for those of you that don't know, KIPP Texas Public Schools is a network of schools across the country. We've got 210 schools in every major city in the U.S. Started in Houston as part of a middle school after-school program, and eventually grew to become one of the best performing middle schools in the Bronx and in Houston. And people that wanted to see children in neighborhoods that for a long time had failing schools begin to fund this movement, which we began to think of the charter school movement, or the KIPP movement that got kicked off in '94, as a people movement, to rethink what was possible in public education in areas that everybody was running from. We ran to those places. I feel like they ran to me to reach us, and with the full knowledge that this was going to be a long-term commitment. When we talk to a family that has a kindergartner or a 3-year-old, our commitment is to see and support them all the way, at least through college. That's a 22-year commitment that we're making to families.
Right.
With understanding that there's going to be ups and downs, that every family is going to go through seasons of difficulty. And I think what makes our schools different are the people, the love, that we are here for the long term. We are here unconditionally. We are here at every level, whether it's helping families find after school, helping them find a clinic, or translating for them when they go to the doctor. We are here to do whatever it takes to make sure that they make the best choice for their kids, for their family, and we can be a support system to them, because I think we believe we receive just as much, if not more, than we could ever give.
Right. And the thing is, you believe in what you're doing. And I think when you believe what you're doing, you put all your effort into it. Like I said before, you have that passion for it, and it shows. And I wanted to ask you something real quick, and I kind of went off the deep end here a little bit. What is the percentage of the kids that go to KIPP? What percentage is it that go on to college?
So we've got approximately 175 kids at the high school that are at KIPP University Prep in an international baccalaureate program. And
so they're already starting before they even go to college.
Exactly. So our students could technically be considered college students when they're enrolled in our program, because they're already in college level classes, acquiring college level credits. And the generally on an annual basis, we get about 92% of our students that are going to go to either a college, 4-year college, community college, or a technical school. And then we have because we live in Military City, USA, we have about 6 to 8% a year that go on to the military. And of course, that's a 20-year career. They have their school paid for as they're going through the military service or after. And we support them no matter where they are in the world. I've got alumni that have been in Germany, Japan, all over the place. And it's a joy for us to see them join the armed forces. Historically in the U.S., speaking of the greater context, only about 6 to 8% of our students from our communities are actually finishing college as a whole, going from our schools, any public school in the country. And so our goal here at KIPP is to fivefold that, and for half of our students to finish the university within 6 years. And we do that through very strong partnerships. We partner with, we got about 110 partnerships across the country with major universities, because we know that if we're investing 13 years in a student, kinder through 12th grade, we don't want to leave college up to chance. We don't want to hope that the college does a good job. And so we are continuously sending our students to schools that have an equal or greater level of commitment and service to our kids, that are going to do whatever it takes to help them succeed. Again, with the full knowledge that students will have their seasons. If they need to take a semester off, they need money for books, if they need a bus card, that the university is not going to put them through a bureaucracy and make them get in line, but that we're going to have a dedicated person that's going to be there to say, let me walk with you as you go through this difficult time. And that is really what has allowed us to grow our college graduation rates to be fivefold. We're at 46% right now, because of the support and the resources that we have aligned for every one of our students. They know they have access to, in the relationships that they get to build as they go to college.
Right.
They know they can. I know that when I started here, my job was to be a college counselor to students. I had 300 kids, and to this day, they still call me to invite me to graduations when they're finishing at the community college, or they're finishing at Texas A&M San Antonio. What a joy to be able to.
Well, that's because you make an impact. You make an impact in their lives, and they're appreciative of that. They realize that that you were maybe a big part of me being able to be successful. And so that's, again, that comes back with love, because there's a lot of places where they're like, I just want to get you through the program, and next. Yep. But that changes everything, like you said, when you have the passion, the love. Like Maria, I'm hearing that you've been there where other people have been. And I think when you're there, you realize, I know where you're coming from. And a lot of times people realize, oh, you've been there? And they see you first, they think, well, you've been successful, you've been this, and they don't even equate that you were probably where they were at that, at that place where, an immigrant or just, coming over and having nothing to working and being able to have something. And I'm sure that's that's something great for them to be able to see and realize that, well, if you can do it, why can't I do it? That's basically your experience, right, with that.
Yes, and I can be that one person that they see, that is just a role model, someone that they can just observe. Like, there's so many things as we all go through. There's so many statistics that there are in this community to be broken, and I think that education is just the key and I can be just support. Like, for example, Jaciel, like, there was just one person in his life that created this big impact in his life. And if I can do that by coming to events, like, if I can just touch one person, I think that is just enough for me.
Right. And excuse me. And like you said, going out, I think that's the key issue there as well, because if you stay where you're at, you just are able to make an impact right where you're at, and which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're at school, absolutely, you do that. But when you extend yourself out there, people get to know who you are, because they're like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know that you did this, and then we're able to help you with this. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, you do all this. But unless you, like I always tell pastors, young pastors, I said, you're starting off. You can be right by the door, looking outside the door with your arms crossed, thinking people are just going to walk in. Right. And that may have been the case maybe 40 years ago. Families were coming to church, but now it seems like people are leaving church, and it's like, okay, how do you get them back in? You got to go out there. You got to make contact with people and let them know, I'm here, we can help you, and have those. It's not only just about inviting them, but also being able to have the resources or what you need to be able to help them and empower them to be what they need to be.
Exactly. And what breaks down barriers, especially if you come into a room with a college education, people can feel it. You speak differently, you look differently. What breaks down barriers is the humility, is your love for service.
Exactly.
That you're not going to put that degree in front of them, or that tie or the suit as a barrier to your relationship, or establish this I'm better than you subjectively. But I see my team truly come to these events, truly go door to door, selflessly, on the weekends, in the afternoons. I've got a mom, Geraldine Rocha. She works with us in the evenings, and she is battling with cancer. She has probably every reason to give up, and I don't know a more motivated person to serve. She has problems with her knees, and she was here at the Christmas event giving away boxes and greeting people, and you'd think
you would have never known.
Yeah, you would never imagine, but because the humility that's there, it breaks down any barriers, anything that she thinks she deserves, and she's here to truly serve and love unconditionally.
Right.
And that transforms people. It allows for you to go to any place, anywhere, anytime, because you know that you're there to reach, you're there to support, you're there to engage, knowing that oftentimes God has more for you than what you have to give.
Yes, exactly.
So,
And you know, I'm 100% in agreement with you, because me personally, this is me, of course. I'm not impressed if you wear a suit. I'm not impressed by how many degrees. There's a lot of people that have more degrees than a thermometer.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It just, it's how you give.
Yeah.
How you give.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people want more than they give.
Yeah.
And it's about giving more than you get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you realize, like you said, the humility part comes in. People really realize that, you know what, even though, you may look important, you may sound important, but I see your heart.
That's right.
And that's what wins people over, I think.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what we want to do here in our schools. I mean, I see Maria do it all the time, where we try to figure out, what does each family need to get their child to the right school. It's not to be KIPP, but get to the right school. Make sure that they are attending school. Make sure they're able to get to school on time, safely. That the kids are being fed. If they need transportation, if they need a bus card, if they need groceries, if they need uniforms. Like Maria is not afraid to ask when she knows that a family needs help. Again, even if they're not coming to KIPP, and I empower her, tell her that's perfectly fine.
Right.
It's perfectly fine, because if families win, we all win.
Exactly.
And Maria, I'm sure you have a lot of examples of children that you've seen just being transformed by being there, present in our schools, and because they feel the love.
And like you said, I believe you're in the front line.
Yeah.
You're in the front line, and your experiences not only help these people, but I've learned too that these experiences help us grow, because you realize you become more appreciative of things that, you know what, sometimes I always tell the kids, I say, look, somebody's going to have it tougher than you do.
Absolutely.
You know, somebody's going to have it worse off than you do. You may not see it, but believe me, once you start to take your focus off yourself and put it on someone else, you'll realize, man, I thought I had it bad.
Yeah.
And I always believe, personally, me, of course, I said, you know, when I have reached the level that Jesus was able to experience what he went through, then maybe I'll complain. But right now, at this moment, you know, hey, I can't. I can't. So what I know, how has it developed you, or what now being part of the KIPP, and how has that taken you to another level that maybe you weren't there maybe a year ago?
Yes, definitely. A year ago, I was actually, because I've been with KIPP for about a year and a half, I was actually in the classroom, and I had the privilege of being hands-on with the kids. I was a co-teacher for Spanish and science with a 4th grade class. So these kids, you see a lot of the resources that they probably lack. And it's a lot of the times that they just need a loving hand. They just need someone to listen to them, someone to support them. And, you know, there's places where you just hear like, oh, well, it's the statistics. That's where you come from. That's your household. But whenever there's just an insane amount of love that is given to them and support, obviously with always their good in mind, there's just immeasurable amounts of like action and impact that you can make in their lives.
That's so true. You know, folks, if people want to get a hold of you, people want more information, where can they reach you, or where can they contact for more information?
So actually, our point of contact for our schools is Miss Jerry. Her number is 210-880-8080. Easy to remember. And it's 210-880-8080. And she's available all day, every day. She has a passion for helping families find schools, and Maria she also is available during work hours to talk to families.
Yes, you can call me at 210-888-6569.
Okay. You know, I'm looking here, and we're almost out of time, but thank you so much for coming. Like I said, I know personally, me, listeners, I believe in KIPP. I've seen what they do. And I'm not getting paid to say this, okay? But I really believe that I want to promote those resources or those organizations or businesses, whoever is really impacting the community in a positive way, because they love what they do, not because they're looking to make money, which I know they have to. Basically it's a business, you know, it's an educational business, and things do need money, of course, to be able to do what they do. But when money is secondary and the purpose of what they're doing is first, because they believe in what they do, then that's the most important thing for me anyway. Yeah. And so again, if you have children, if you're looking for a good school, contact them, let them get information about how you can maybe be part of that program. They're willing to come and help and do what they need to do to be able to get your kids into school as well.
That's right.
Thank you again so much, and we're just about out of time here. Thank you again, listeners, for tuning in to Bridging the Gap Radio Talk Show. If you need more information, give us a call at area code 210-550-1966 or visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/BTG Radio 1. There you can find some of our past guests and their interviews here on Bridging the Gap Radio Talk Show. Thank you, and we'll be back here again next week. Take care, and God bless.
This has been a Power of God production. This program has been sponsored by Last Chance Ministries and KDRY Radio.